record. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love. I'm Darla, and we are here today to talk about day 3, love and respect. So I want to start with looking at the affirmation. And the affirmation of the day for day 3 is, I love and respect myself for who I am. And then, so if you write it down, make sure that you put it somewhere where you can see it regularly. I want to just remind everybody, seeing and repeating our affirmations is one of the most important things we can do, especially if we've had a bad day or a bad week or a bad month or whatever it might have been. It could have been a bad life and we're just finally climbing out of it. No matter where we're at, no matter if we're repeating things or leveling up through the reminders of yesteryears. What we can do is always look at that. And when I say I love and respect myself for who I am, I'm truly checking into this present moment, who I am. I want you to think for a second about who you are. Who am I? Ask yourself that. Who am I? And while you're thinking about that for a minute, I just want to talk about the fact that we are, yes, we're human. Yes, we're flesh and blood. Yes, we are male or female. We are, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, children. We're something always to someone. We can always label ourselves 1,000 different labels. But what does it really mean to say who I am? And why would you want to love and respect yourself? Why wouldn't you? It should be the question. But most people don't think about it. We're always busy thinking about everyone else. So when I say, who are you? Or when you ask yourself, who am I? What is the first thing you think of? And I'm gonna go with Joe. I never put him on the spot first. I always give him lots of time to think. But today I'm gonna put him on the spot.
It goes along with my Monday. It's been a Monday. um, who am I? This changes quite often. Um, it seems to change with my growth, actually. But lately, it's really been resonating with the almighty I am that I am.
Awesome. So you are finally tuning into spirit. You're realizing that you are not separate from, but that you are part of spirit.
On my gooder days, yeah.
And that's what we're all working on mastering.
Yeah. Some days are just more difficult than others, but learning these tools through the process of the art of learning self-love, it does get easier as you go deeper and deeper.
So, Crystal, the same question. When you ask yourself, who am I?
So I agree with Joe. I see that. And I was thinking of those I am statements. And what came to me was I am love, I am creation, and I am truth.
So, perfect. A little bit deeper on that. When you think about that, when you think about the I am truth,
Mhm.
do you always stand in your truth?
Now, so more, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm more true to myself and I'm more true to others.
Beautiful. That's really awesome because that's the part where you're going to actually begin developing you and being able to grow all the way out into, it's like right now, if we really think about where we're at and looking at the position of things altering around, orbiting around Earth right now, we're really looking at a space where Venus is coming through. Venus is the planet of love, but Venus is also really, really relevant to all of us in the messages and the patterns. For a rose to be a rose started off with 5 petals. That's all the rose had in the beginning. But with every circle and rotation around the earth, that Venus actually takes, we develop another row, petals. So we have to remember that we are working through the same situation with our lives every single day. And sometimes it's challenging, to really recognize ourselves, to know who we are and what we're all about. The rose is really an important significance. One, what are we talking about? Love. We're here to talk about loving ourselves, loving others. How do we begin loving ourselves first so that we can love another? And the flower itself represents love. Venus, the planet, represents love. If there's so much in relevance around the word, around the experience, how much are we really tuning in every day to love ourselves and respect ourselves? So I want to go back to the question though of who I am, and I want to ask Kat, when you ask yourself that question,
I was hoping you'd skip me.
you can
Uh,
pass. You can pass if you need to pass. You are allowed.
well, I mean, I was just sitting here thinking like, I am that I am. I'm energy, you know, it's all just energy. Um, I guess like I'm trying to think of that. I was trying to think of that show. It's like, ah, they're all like in hell or whatever, and then they wake up or like something, but they don't know that they're in hell, and then they keep waking up in hell and redoing like everything. It was a show. I can't think of what it's called.
Someone out there who listens to this, please put it in the comment later because I want to know what show this is.
Kristen, gosh, I can think of these actors' names. It's just like out of my brain. Anyways, my point is that like I guess that always just like freaks me out, that there's like more to me that I don't know, like that there's this veil over our eyes and that we've been, programmed and just, and then I think about like, for me, I was trying so hard to be like some version of something that I wasn't like really didn't like resonate, wasn't who I am. And so when I think of like, you know, who I truly am, it always, when I like go in here and I go into that heart, I'm just like, who do I want to be? And I'm like, because we're all of it, we're the good and the bad combined into a wholeness. But it's just always goes back into who like you're choosing to lead with and who you're choosing to be. And it's just odd to me that we're all so afraid of being like that light. You know what I mean? Like that should be easy. That should be like
The
I don't
simple side of it, though, isn't easy.
yeah, it's
We make everything more complicated than we need to.
but like when you think about like how like for me, right? I try to be so tough, like and act like I don't care about anything or that I'm like I got all my shit together and I try to portray myself as like confident and like but I don't think I'm unique in that. I think we all like but we're not like none of us are. Like maybe there really are some people, but we all are so insecure. We all are so, we still have insecurities. We still have fears. We still have, all these little like things about
Called the
us.
human experience, hun.
Yeah.
Welcome to the human experience.
And so we want, like you think about for me, it comes down to integrity and it always comes down to truth. Like what's the truth, right? Do I like being an asshole or do I like being a good person? I never like being an asshole. Like if I find out I hurt somebody, it makes me so sad. It makes me ashamed of myself. It makes me feel bad. But at the same time, when people are like, "Oh, you're so nice."
or then we automatically assume that gets interpreted as weakness, right? So it's like we can't be too nice because then that means you're weak or you're like a doormat. And I just think it's odd that we rationalize like that. And I'm not talking about fake nice. I'm talking about genuine, like you're just nice in general. I don't know.
No, no, that's where you're at. There's perfectly nothing wrong with that. That is perfect, just as you are.
Yeah, I don't
Who
know.
are you? You're ever changing, you're ever developing, you're ever growing. You're becoming more every day. So
But I
you
just think,
you chose to jump into the vortex. You're
yeah.
sitting in the middle of it going, I'm all of it. I don't know. I'm none of it, but I'm all of it. So you're okay.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, then if this is just like a human experience and this is just a hologram and we just like flip the switch and am I gonna what's that movie with another, I can't think of any actor's name, where they're like in these avatars, but they don't want to live out in the real world in their like normal bodies. So they all have these like perfect little avatars and they like live in their is that what's going on? And we just don't remember. I want to wake up in some.
Well, I don't know whether or not that's what's going on. I mean that's literally putting everyone into a stasis place that the
I start
the
being
actual ability of saying that that is fact, yeah, there's a lot of question there. That's like, let's get some controversial people and bring some of those conspiracy theorists in, and we'll find to the bottom to that. But that's a whole nother discussion. Definitely another day discussion.
like when he wakes up, when he takes the red pill and he wakes up and he's like that's my fear that I'm gonna wake up in
Is it
some
the
like
red one or is it the blue one here? And who is the oracle? So,
wake up in
where's the matrix? No, I mean, really, that is, there are theories on that right now. There people are really diving into. So I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. I'm saying that I'm quite interested in learning a little bit more. That's where I'm at. But everyone has a degree of different things. But what is the importance of it all? Here's what you were saying, love.
yeah.
You don't want to be the asshole. You want to be that person with integrity. You want to do it out of compassion. So ultimately, every choice that you're making, here's the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the kicker for all of us. Everyone is truly doing everything out of love
Yeah, exactly.
because it starts in the heart with a I should. Now, how it lands and how it others react, totally different story. We can
Right,
do everything with a good heart, with pure intentions, and truly out of love. The
right,
way it's received may not, because they may not be on the frequency of actually receiving love at that moment. So they're
right.
going to spiral out, and then all of a sudden, everyone's in a chaos. But
Yeah.
the root, when you come back to the very root, it was out of love. People kill people out of love. I'm not endorsing that. I'm not asking anybody to do that. I'm asking everyone, if you need a person, please call me. I will listen to you. You don't have to do that. I will let you scream at the top of your lungs until you feel better. But do not do that. But it has happened. There has been hate, what they consider hate crimes, when in all actuality, it came from a space where they felt rejected. They felt unaccepted. They felt destroyed. And out of that pain from that love, circumstances happened. We really got to really look into the deeper parts of this stuff. I really spent a lot of time being on the surface, bringing people in, tending to things. But I think it's really time that we really start digging a little deeper into what is love and why are we, struggling? What is going on and how are we respecting ourselves? But before, we're going to go to Lorraine. And Lorraine, when you hear the words who I am, who am I? What comes up for you?
A lot of things come up for me. I am a compassionate warrior who genuinely cares about other people. I have a lot of love to give. I'm highly skilled. I have a lot of wonderful traits about me: determination, strength, intelligence. I also am someone who knows my worth, and that took a little bit of time to develop, actually. But now I basically, don't really care what others think of me, because I'm just gonna like forge my own path regardless. And not everybody has to like me, not everybody has to love me. As long as I'm happy with me doing what I want to do, really that's all that matters, because that's what's going to make me happy in the end. um and in the present moment. So yeah, there's a lot of things that come to my mind when I think about who I am. I mean, aside from being a caregiver and like always helping people, always helping my family, always helping my friends, always being there for other people, sometimes to the detriment of my own health, and
That's where you got to start learning boundaries.
that's what and that's one of the things that I've learned in this course. I mean, I've taken the entire course already, and I'm now starting to try and go back and redo it again from a more improved place with more knowledge about myself than I had before. But obviously, I'm someone with insecurities who still struggles with low self-esteem, despite being confident about my skills and my abilities and things like that. It's just a personal thing because of the traumas I've endured and the depression that I suffer from. So I'm basically a balancing act. I'm like
It can feel
someone
like
who
that, especially when you're in your process. Especially.
exactly.
And that's where
Yeah.
you're at. You're just in a process. You're still going through it. Like I was telling you, I was saying that for me, before I even began sharing this with other people, I'd already done it 3 times. So I had
Yeah.
literally, 3/4 of a year covered doing this over and over again. And I'm still doing it every day.
Hmm.
I'm
And
doing it
that's the thing.
multiple days now every day because I have to think about everyone that I'm sending out to others who are taking the course every day. And right now, I think I have 5 different people who are literally taking the dailies that are in the course right now, working on it each day. And so with each one of those people working on it right now, literally, I have, when somebody goes off, somebody else is climbing in. There's times I have up to 25 people at a time in this. Sometimes
Hmm.
I only have 1 or 2, but always, ever changing every day. I have somebody doing one of the dailies because everyone needs to be doing them because they need
Yeah.
to see. And not because I think that mine's superior. I just know that I see the results. And
And
that's the
learning's a lifelong process regardless. It doesn't matter how much we've learned or how far we've come. There is still, so much to learn. Like no one person can ever know everything in this world. I mean, that's why we have people who specialize in certain areas, who are experts in their field, who we turn to when we need to know something about that subject. And that's the amazing thing about people, I think, because we we are so uniquely different, and yet we're all bonded by the same emotions,
Right.
and we all bleed red. Doesn't matter what color our skin is, we are all the same. So, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. We do. We all, if I pricked my finger right now and you pricked yours, we'd all have a little red dot on the end of that finger. And it doesn't matter where we came from, what our authenticity is or anything else to that. We all are going to bleed the same. We all feel things the same. That's the part is everyone else is going, you're not hearing me. You don't know how I feel. No, I don't know exactly how you feel, but I know when it hurt me and how it made me feel, and it probably was pretty damn close, and it sucked. And if we can all go, hey, you know what? We don't need a band-aid, but there's a real salve here that's going to really heal this and bring it together. Then let's bring it together. There's a process for each and every single one of us, and love is part of it, but respect is the other part. When you hear the word respect, how quick can you be a respecter of everyone else? I know I can. I can respect everyone else, whatever their wishes, whatever they are, I can respect it. But how
But not
many
everybody deserves respect either.
right,
Not
but I'm
everybody
gonna
is worth your
respect where
time.
they're at. I'm gonna respect where they're at. Even if I can't respect them personally, I'm gonna respect that they're in a process. Doesn't mean that I have to respect them in their process. It means that I respect that they're in their process. There's
Right.
a difference. There's a huge difference between that. That's like I'm picking up the bottle or I'm looking at the bottle, but I can still do something with the bottle, whether or not I'm looking or if I'm touching, whichever. So when I'm looking at the respect, of someone, I'm respecting their space. They're out of place, they're out of sorts, whatever. If it's in a negative that I cannot personally accept. For me, what my judgment of, which is what we all have. We all have a level of morals and decrees and what we believe is what's best versus not. So we have to judge those things accordingly to ourselves, not others. So when we pull into ourselves, when we're respecting another, regardless of whether or not we hate what they're doing, I can still respect them. I can respect them where they're at. And go ahead, Joe, jump in there and say something about that. That's really
Just going off of something Lorraine said, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I feel that quite often where people, don't deserve my respect. But at the same time, it speaks highly of my character to be respectful to those that you may feel don't, because, you're still putting out that positive karmic energy, even though you're getting some negative bullshit crap coming your way. So, with how tough it can be to be respectful to those people, it's still worthwhile to do your best. And like I wrote in there, I can say it is tough at first, because it's taken me quite a while to flip that mindset around and still give that politeness to people that you just want to smack upside the head.
Well, yeah, but there's also different levels of people who we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about, you know, people like total strangers versus someone who perhaps has raped you. Obviously, you're not going to respect the person who raped you. I mean, I have like
No,
zero
I don't
positive
see
feelings towards.
I don't see you dealing with that person anymore after, court
right.
cases and all that stuff. So yeah,
Now, when someone has betrayed us, that's different. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
I'm more or less speaking on those random strangers in the street. Even if they're being an a-hole, you don't have to be one back. I'm speaking of people like, for instance, my son's mother. I have zero reason to like this person. At least I don't find any since I've started looking. And I still do my best to be respectful to her, because there's multiple factors that come into play on just that one human. And if I am being just as disrespectful to her as she is to me, the situation's only going to escalate. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to be more court time, more money spent, more, just more drama that's not needed. So yeah, in some cases, like, to your rapist, you're going to want to be respectful with a baseball bat. But to most people, it does speak highly on your character to be
Oh,
respectful.
and I agree. I do agree with that, because I mean, for the most part, I mean, I treat other people how I want to be treated, and I want to be treated with respect, obviously. So, I mean, there's just, some people who just don't really, I don't know,
Sometimes
maybe
we have to
maybe
be the
deserve that
respecter of
time.
the
Yeah.
space. The
And we have
respecter
to, I
of
think,
the
respect ourselves first,
Right. That's what I was going to
even
say. You got to respect yourself enough to know that you don't need to be in that situation. If it's a boss being an a-hole, there's millions of other jobs out there. You don't have to stay in one place if you're being treated like crap. And that goes for a relationship, that goes for family members, that goes for, just about anything. You're not stuck. You're not a tree. You're not rooted into the earth where you stand right there, right now. You got 2 feet. Use them to walk the fuck up out of there.
yeah, you always
Pardon my
have a
French.
choice. And I think that's
Exactly.
something that a lot of us tend to forget sometimes, is that we have that choice. We have that power within us to say, okay, yes, I'm going to accept this, or no, I am not going to accept this.
exactly.
And if you choose not to accept it, then you make a decision and you change it. Like last night, I mean, you saw that post that I shared, Darla, about letting go of those who, aren't ready to love you or care about
Yes.
you or anything. Well, I tagged Eddie in the post, and I sent it to him in Messenger with the words, bye, Eddie. Because my previous message to him was, obviously, you're not interested in talking to me, not interested in fixing our relationship or our past or anything. So yeah, like this is just hurting me going on. I said, I'm considering blocking you, but I haven't made up my mind yet. But then I thought, he's going to be the one to do it. Sure enough, as soon as I sent him that post about, I'm reclaiming my power here, and I'm respecting myself enough to know that we are not right for each other. And I just said, bye, Eddie. That was it. And today I got up, and sure enough, I was blocked.
Yeah,
So
like,
that just speaks to him.
that
It
sucks.
hurt.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
it hurt. But that's just how it's got to be. And that's, like, that's something that I've been struggling with lately. And that's just, it just really reminded me that, there's somebody out there who is going to be worthy of my love. And I just haven't met that person yet.
Just
And that's
No,
remember
okay.
the pin. Just remember the pin.
Mhm. Exactly.
Remember
And
the pin. The pin is a mighty, mighty tool.
and
Remember
what's really
that.
funny, Darla, is that I'm now getting messages from about like 4 or 5 different guys that I've been kind of like sort of chatting with a little bit here and there. And so
So
yeah.
see, you let go of the one thing that you thought you needed oh so much. But in
Yeah.
all actuality, it was just you revisiting a pain point and reminding yourself. We do it. We all do it.
Mhm.
Don't think you're the only one, hun, because believe me, even me, as seasoned as I am, still does it. Still runs into things and goes, God, I didn't learn that one yet. What was I thinking? You know, that's
Yeah.
the part is we all have to stay humble and realize we're all still a work in progress every single day. So when I think about the word respect, and I was referring to it as being a respecter of others, we can respect their space. We can respect the space for ourselves. We don't have to be a respecter of that person because of their misbehaviors. We have to be a respecter of all aspects, and that part's important. So respect isn't just about, I respect you because, yeah, you're my chum. No, we have to respect those who totally devastate us as well, because we have to put it into a space of respect of what we're going to accept and not respect or accept or not receive ever again. And this last week for me, I had this last this last month, I'm just gonna sum it up. The month of November, like, I went through a lot of different things. I was in question of whether or not I should really go in on a trip. Went to the trip. The 11-day trip was like I couldn't get home soon enough. I truly, truly was so grateful. I was grateful I was sitting on the runway in Detroit for an hour. Long before I could even unload off the plane. I was in Detroit. And most people go, oh, stay away from Detroit. I was happy to be there. I was like, I'm here. I'm in Michigan. I'm home. Michigan, Detroit's not my home, but Michigan is now. And I realized I had gone off on this trip of I'm coming home to where my roots were, where I grew up, where I've developed me, who I used to be. And what I realized was how polar opposite I am from who I once was. With this front row seat, pushing me right up into it, going, yeah, do you see this? Do you see do you see how things used to be, Darla? Universe was like sitting there like nonstop. And I was like, I don't like it. I didn't like who I used to be. And I changed her. There was a point in my life I hated everything. I hated myself. When I was standing in the midst of all of the same experiences that I used to live every day, willfully accepting, trying to fight through to figure it all out, I was standing at it on the sideline, literally going, oh no, oh no, I know who I am. I know my worth. I know myself. And no, this is not it. But I can tell you when that it was me. And I can remember it. Sometimes we have to face where we came from. And I want to be the first person to warn you. When you guys come through it and you get to the other side of it and you look back on yourself, it's going to be a little rocky. It's going to feel rocky. It's going to feel like those waves are crashing down over you again. Because life happens. Circumstances come up. No matter how much work we do to ourselves, there's still situations. It's life. It's an experience. It's a lesson. Love and respect for yourself. If I can't teach you anything else, the only thing I really want to set into each person is to look at yourself and actually begin loving yourself first. It is perfectly acceptable to walk away from those things that are hurting you, that are not benefiting you. And it is perfectly acceptable to find a way to look at yourself and honor yourself. One of the things we're all taught is to make sure everyone else is taken care of. And we become the side dish that every now and then gets picked at. And that's not how it should be. The Western religion, Christianity, has somehow made seeking God a higher position one of the most important things, to look outside of us. Even in Christianity, they teach you to look outside of you, which I don't understand because I went to church, I am a Christian, and I believe in Christ. I don't believe it the way that the people are preaching it anymore, because so much of it has been lost over the years. So much has been taken away from us, and we're not getting the full truth. and it's not fair. Just as much as when we look to the Eastern, it's the opposite. Get grounded, look inside yourself, be still enough, breathe into the moment. Doesn't matter whether or not we're looking outside or whether or not we're looking inside. The basis to both of them are love. So if we split the world right in half, we go from the Eastern to the Western. Both sides of the sphere have one thing in common: love. Love is unity. Love is respect. Love is connection. Love is understanding. Love is unconditional. Love is the only thing that never gives up. We can love something and then we can stop loving it due to circumstances and situations. Did we really love it? Or did we love an idea of it? When the idea fell away, we fell out of love. Love cannot be removed. If you love someone, how many times when you love someone can you completely remove the story and go, it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. Let's do a clean slate. Let's tend to this. Let's do that. Let's find another way. Love compromises. Love finds a way to bring healing. Love is patient. Love is kind. But everything else fails. Love is the key. Christ came and shared that. But so did Buddha. So did Allah. So does the Satanist. I cannot choose a religion and state this is the best one or this is the right one. I cannot tell you that you need to choose this one or that one, but I can tell you that there is an ascension of masters. And the one master that is above them all is I am that I am. And that was the actual Christ consciousness. And if Christ consciousness is the top of all the ascended masters, then it doesn't matter whether or not you believe from the Eastern or if you believe from the Western, we all believe the same damn thing. There's one God. That God has been deposited into each and every single one of us. We can't be separate. That's why when you hurt, I hurt, or when I hurt, you hurt. Because we really feel what each other are feeling. But most of us don't know how to connect to it. And that's what I hope that I teach people how to do. Is come in and accept that we're all 100% connected. And we're truly here to support one another. So I want to ask everyone, when you think about love, I want you to tell me just one sentence, one phrase, one idea. When you think of the word love, what does it mean to you? Crystal.
Love is honoring myself, It truly is. Showing myself the love that, at one time I was looking outward for is the most beautiful thing that you can give yourself.
Lorraine.
Sorry, I'm too upset right now to talk.
You are, we love you. Thank you for letting us know that that's what's going on. We're here for you. Each and every one of us. And it's okay. Right now, that's where you're at. That's okay. I'm sorry you're hurting so much. Crystal, bye, hun. Kat, when you think about love, what does love mean to you?
Um, I think love is when you put somebody else's needs above your own. I think that's a true act of love. It's to serve others. And that's exactly what Christ did. And that's what he preached and that's what he lived by, was he served others. And I want to correct you. Love was not deposited into us. Hate was deposited into us. We were
No,
born.
ma'am. We're going to
We
go back to the principle of where Christ gave us. He did not give us hate.
no, but
The
listen.
spirit deposited into us is love. That's how we find love. We are, what happens at birth is we're entered into the separation at birth. And that's where, after birth, is when we become separated and call to the hatred. That happens after birth.
What I'm telling you is when we are born of light. We are born of love. My kid did not have hate in him. Whatever hate comes in that kid is a result of what gets deposited into him by the world outside of us. We
Okay.
are all love and light. And
If
so
here,
what I wanted to say was, we have to just remember that that is the true nature of us, is that light and that love. And we are the only ones that we can control. I can only control the love that I choose to give out. I cannot control anybody outside of myself. I can't make somebody love me. I can't make
can I
another.
can I really explain something here? Because where you went with that is not what I was referencing at all. At all. That's why you're like trying to create a correction that is not, it's out of alignment.
That's what
So
love means to me. That's what love means to me. That's what it is to stand in that light and to be that light of love that is you. Because we have all of that in us.
but
But that is what love is to me, is walking and leading with that and having integrity in that love that you are, that you
okay.
are.
So what I was referencing though is the depositing of love.
Mhm.
And you said no, that's incorrect. That I am actually negating what you just said there because of the fact of what you're saying. When I was talking about the depositing of the love, I'm talking about the spirit. If the spirit pulled out of my head, what would my body do?
What would that spirit be?
What is the spirit? What is my breath?
Right.
My life is spirit. I
Yeah.
cannot be separated from God, is what I
Right.
was saying a few minutes ago. But you're saying that it was wrong and that you wanted to correct it and say that it was something. And I was referencing to the spirit, and the spirit depositing within us is what Christ gave us was love. That is the very essence of what we live from. And I wanted you to understand what I was saying because you were like, no, that's wrong. And I was like, well, hold on, let me explain it. Because what I was saying is we cannot exist without love. We can't. We cannot live. We cannot breathe. We cannot be. That's why everything that we do comes from that space of love, because it's coming from our very core of who we are. And the very core of who we are is the actual deposit of the life source of God within us. And we cannot be separate from that. The only thing that happens that when the hate comes in is from our life experiences. And that changes our mind, not our spirit. I was like, whoa, hold on. Because where you were going with that was really going to create a whole another mess for you. And I wanted to stop it before it began, because that was going to cause a lot of confusion. Because you were literally seeing yourself that love and hate are separate. Yes, love and hate are feelings and emotions. Yes. But the very essence of our breath, of who we are and our existence within us, cannot be separate from God, because that is the very life force of God within us. We are literally, truly one in the same, but as a deposit of it in multiple spaces. All around the world, every single one of us has the same spirit of love. We all come from that space every single day. But what happens is we get damaged along the way. And that's where we've experienced hate, where we felt abandonment, where we experienced circumstances and pain that literally separated us mentally. But we can never, if I was separate from my spirit, from the love of the spirit that was deposited, then what would happen? My body would fall down dead. Because the very essence of life that is me is connected to source. So coming to understand that can be very difficult, and it can cause a lot of frustrations and confusions along the way, because we're thinking, when we're only reading words that we don't really understand, we're getting parts of it in comprehension, but are we really studying what those words meant back before they were translated into our language? Do we know what the definitions were? It's theology in itself. That part there is very difficult to explain. And there are many, many different perceptions. But hate is not being deposited into us. Hate is an experience around us, and we can choose to clothe ourselves in it. We can choose to put it in our head and chew on it all day long. But it won't actually allow us to, we can't put it into our spirit. I can't pour hate into my spirit and live. That would be like identifying myself as my hand. My hand is my hand, but my hand is not me. My hand is part of my body, but that is not part of my spirit. That is part of a flesh. That is part of a tent, but my spirit itself dwelling within me is love. 100% love. Always love. That can never change no matter what circumstance I go through. That part can never be changed, because it's deposited into each and every single one of us at the foundations of creation, which is whole and complete. That part wasn't negotiable. That was a non-negotiable setting. It was a setup from the beginning. We're all love. No matter what you believe, no matter what religion you go to, I can't forsake any assembly, because I know that no matter what assembly you're sitting in, your very essence of love, and so am I. And we can't be separate. And that's true. But I love the fact that you are recognizing that there are the events, but they don't get into our soul. They don't change our spirit.
I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. We do not come in the consciousness of us is what? It's unconditional love, right? The thing that makes you Darla, the thing that makes me me, the thing that is conscious in me, the thing going, I am Kathy. The thing in you saying, I am Darla. That is unconditional love and light. That is the part of God, right? Isn't that what we're saying?
It's not the Darla and it's not the cat. It's the very breath.
Exactly.
It's our life force.
Which is, that's what I'm saying. We come in as that light force. We don't come in with hate or racism or any of that negative stuff. Is not. That's what we come in. I'm in this form. I'm love and light in this form. So what's deposited into this form is both love and light. If I'm the essence of God, I am, then the essence of the opposite of that. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what gets put into this vessel? If nobody ever showed you how to be hateful or to judge others or to impart your your free will over others, right? When you take their will away from them, if none of that had ever happened, then what would we be? We would just be that love and that light, right? So if you're love and light and that's all there is to you, that's what came into us that's wrong. That's Do you get what I'm saying? We're
No.
all that
How is that wrong?
divine love.
Let's
We're
see.
consciousness one splintered out, right? We're all unconditional. We're all a spark of the divine. All of us are unconditional love. What is God? Unconditional love is what? Light.
Okay, but why is it wrong? Why
I'm
is
not.
it needed? You did. You just said it was wrong and it shouldn't be.
I mean,
And you said that before that it was,
what we deem is wrong is like hate or racism or selfishness or all that low vibration, right? We tend to label that as wrong, as not being good, or as
there
not being
is no right and wrong ultimately. That's
ultimate.
why ultimately it comes down to the understanding of when you go back to the scripts and the scriptures, whether or not it's in Christianity or whether or not it's in another dogma, whatever religion, it all comes back down to one specific, where which I don't want to quote one scripture. I wanted it to be more blanketed where it covers all of them. But and I can't think of it right now, and that's okay. But no, I'm not trying to debate. It's not a debate at
I was
all.
just like,
It was just it,
like,
but what happened, in there was, telling in the middle of a class, you're telling the teacher, I'm correcting you.
well, I didn't mean it
And
like
that,
that.
and I was like,
Like,
hold on, let me go into a deeper explanation of it. And
yeah,
that's why I was like, and that's the funny part is here's where I'm defending, which I don't need to. I'm
yeah,
defending what I'm teaching, and I don't need to because you're 100% in alignment with me anyways. And I know that. So, here's where
I guess the other way to me sounds like we were hate and a bunch of evilness walking around, and I guess that's the way I heard it. And I was like, no, that's not true. It was the other way. You know
but
what I
how
mean?
did you hear that when those words weren't even used? Where did
I
you transfer it and make it something negative?
no,
That's
I
what
went.
I'm trying to figure out. That's why I was like, whoa, 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 let's go back. Let me explain this because you took that way over there, and that's not where I'm going. What I'm saying is we can't, hate can only go in here.
Yeah,
Hate can only happen to our outside. Hate does not live in us.
right,
Nothing
right,
we do comes from hate.
right. No, not
It starts from the base of all of it comes from love. It comes from the depositive light of love of who we are, and that's what we are, our very breath.
yeah.
So if
Hate is
that's our very breath, then the only thing when we're dealing with the outside sources, with the outside experiences, is we got to remember to tune inside and have the love and respect for ourselves, is where I was going in that, so that we can actually completely wrap it up and bring it to that place of always honoring ourselves first. Because when we honor ourselves first, then all we're going to do is we're going to love and respect everyone else around us because we're already loving and respecting ourselves.
Yeah.
So you're not offended, are you? If you are, please let me know. Because I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's what I just like when you started explaining it. I was like, yeah, that's what I just said too. I guess I just heard something different, and I was like, no, that's not right.
So I'm like, wait a minute. But
Where are you go?
Loving and respecting ourselves sometimes isn't always easy though.
Yeah.
well, it's
And
not.
I mean that's why, that's why we're here, so that we can learn how to love and respect ourselves even more
It
than
should
what
be
we currently
easy.
do.
It should be easy though. It
It
shouldn't be
should.
Mr. That should be the first person that you honor, the first person that you love. And really, you are the first person that you love and the first person that you honor, you know? It's just like sitting down in that quiet place and being like, and realizing what self-love is, right? Because self-love is letting nobody love you less than you love you. So if you wouldn't, do something to you, why would you ever let somebody else? If you wouldn't say something bad about you, why would you ever let somebody else? And
Right, but when you're brought up in a different environment, or if you're brought up with a low self-esteem, it's really hard to even be able to learn how to do that. I mean, we're all adults now, and we've evolved to the point where our awareness has expanded, and we are, we know, like, we can see the different ways and the different teachings, and we've taught ourselves, and then we've also learned from each other about the positive ways, but when you're constantly in a state of depression and negativity and low vibration and everything else, I mean, it's really hard to get out of that space and focus on the fact that you are worthy, you have worth,
yeah,
you
Right.
deserve love,
right.
and that's the part that I, even now I still struggle with, even though I know I deserve it. I know deep down I deserve it, but then there's that, like, chatter in your head, like you wake up and it's like
Yes.
there's the
There has been.
and it's like, holy crap, like, enough is enough, like,
Wow.
and it's sometimes difficult to be in the space of, like, okay, be quiet, I don't want to listen to that, because this is my goal, this is how I feel, I want to be happy, that's my goal, is to be at peace and be happy with myself and love myself regardless, and remembering that, like, the selfishness part is not necessarily a negative thing, because if you can't love yourself, then how is anyone else going to love you? If you can't take care of yourself, how can you take care of other people? It's like the airplane oxygen mask thing, you put it on yourself before you rescue all the babies and the kids, and it's so easy to just let those thoughts, kind of, go by the wayside, and we have to, really, like, work to bring it back to, like, remember, and that's why those, for visual people, visual learners, like, Darla said in, the third day's affirmation, like, put it somewhere where you can see, I love and respect myself,
Yeah.
and look at it often, and because
For
I'm
who I
that type of
am.
person too.
Accepting yourself right where you're at. That's the point of that one. I love
Mm-hmm.
and respect myself for who I am. And when you leave it right there without any other finishing words, without changing the structure of it, you're literally having to love and respect you right now. Not yesteryears, not who you can develop, not who was yesterday, not who's going to be tomorrow, but right now. And where I'm at this moment, it's 8:11 p.m. And I love and respect Darla for who she is at this very moment.
And
And
I like how
that's,
you remind us that like you this wasn't created overnight. So who you want to be isn't gonna be overnight,
and I'm telling you, just as much as all of you are sitting here going, oh, I'm such a hot mess right now. Guess what? So is Darla.
Yeah.
We're all human.
We
This
all, no
part
matter
of the
who
human
we,
experience.
no matter how far we've come, there's always still something
Yeah.
that's always ever changing. So love yourself first so that you can love everyone else,
Yeah.
and tune
And we're,
in to the very moments so that you can begin enjoying life.
one
Oh, yeah.
helpful thing, Darla, that's helped me is regarding the negative self-talk. The question, like, would you say that to one of your friends? No.
Exactly.
Well, then why are you saying it to yourself?
Yes, exactly.
You have to be your own best friend first. So, and that's something that kind of stuck with me too.
I think
So,
one of the reasons, and this is going to be totally off subject, but I think for me, when it began, I was so disconnected from hearing the world around me. I didn't have a choice but to love myself and find myself first because I couldn't connect with the rest of the world. The last year, I've connected so much that it's been overwhelming. I mean, I ain't even kidding. I'm like, my gosh, you know what? Only having 30% hearing of your entire life, and then being able to hear 100%.
Yeah.
That's a lot. 70% is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have to say that it has created a lot of different things that, I honestly didn't have to deal with before. I could walk into another room and not listen to the conversation that was on the other side of the wall. I could truly go to isolation and only sit with myself. So I had all of myself and my thoughts for only my whole life. And that changed the trajectory. So my hearing impairedness allowed me to tune in and actually hear the greater good because that was all I had. So when I was struggling to hear the answers that everyone else was saying when they were looking away and I couldn't really hear it, it put me in a position where I spent a lot of time sitting with myself going, I know I'm supposed to be doing something and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's how I feel.
And I was completely lost in it. And what I would do, and this is something I want to teach people how to do, and it helps to quiet the chatter. It quiets the inner dialogue. And it's literally choosing to tune in and ask for an answer from source. And it's like a fine tuning rod that comes out from the base of my root and out of the top of my head. And it's like a rod and it tunes in. And when I do that, it's like a meditation and I can see myself. It's like I can just totally tune in and I'm waiting because I can't hear and don't know what the answer is. I would sit and be like, what am I supposed to do? And this is what I would do every time I ran against something in my life that would make it so difficult, like recent, when the bank could not give me my funds right away. It was going to take 10 to 90 days for them to go get it because someone stole it from my account. And I was stuck sitting in the streets of another city, not anywhere near home, not even near the date that I could load on a plane. No food, no nothing, possibly no shelter. I mean, I was close to no shelter. I spent almost a whole night out on the street. I mean, there was some things that I dealt with. So I'm only sharing it because I sat in that space again. Because I remembered what I did when I didn't have assistance. We all have an option for assistance to reach out to another. I have assistance. I hear now. However, I knew that that wasn't where my answers were. It wasn't coming to tickle my ear. My answer had to come from somewhere else, and it had to come from a much greater source. And because of my hearing impairment, I learned how to tune into that a long time ago. And I literally sat with it and was like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm broke. I'm sitting in the middle of the streets. What do I do now? I did not ask for this.
Yeah, but you had resources and you used them, Darla, because you've built such a supportive community of people who love you, and you were able to tap into all those resources and your knowledge and take care of yourself.
But in
And that's
that
exactly
moment,
what you did.
what I did was I tuned in and I set that set, where that rod goes into the ground and it goes all the way up into the heavens. And I was asking, Source, what do I do? Because I don't know. I don't know where to turn. I don't know who to ask. I'm completely unfamiliar with any of this terrain. And how many times do we feel like that in our feelings? I've never been here before and I don't like this. So I waited and I sat there quietly in a still small space, quietly, breathing, waiting. And all of a sudden, I heard, popped into my head. And it was not my voice, but I heard, you have not, because you ask not. Well, who do I am? Oh, I know lots of people. And I literally blanketed a post and dropped it. And I allowed the universe to hear my plea. Within 4 hours, I had more than what I had lost. Yes, I have a responsibility to be respectful and pay all of those dividends back. But I had everything plus. And that happens only because of tuning in. I'm not any different than Kat. I'm not any different than you, Lorraine.
Yeah.
I'm exactly like you. The only thing I do is I stay in alignment. I choose every day to work on those things that hurt, to cry about the things that make me cry, to laugh about the things that make me laugh, walk away from the things that aren't bringing me anything, and severing those places that need to be severed. The dead tree branches that are attached to all of us have to be cut off. And there's so many anchors that we all cart around in our life. I can name many that I have carried through the years because I thought I was doing something good, because I was trying to be of service, because I truly cared to make sure somebody else was taken care of. They weren't ready to take care of themselves, but I was over responsible and let me do it. And I carried that stuff for so long.
Did Joe's call start already?
Yes, 5 minutes ago. We gotta go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wanted to go to that.
Let's all go.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing the time. I didn't even realize we'd gone over that long.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
all.
didn't want to interrupt you because you were, you were in a space.
Oh,
Um,
you can
and I
always
was
interrupt. You can even correct the teacher, and I'll just go, no, excuse me, here we go. This is
Okay,
what we're
I'm
doing.
gonna thank you so much for today, Darla.
Get worse.
Gonna
You
go
know what?
jump on
This
Joe's
will
call now.
become,
'Cause, yeah, that breathwork call sounds really good.
Go take care of it. I'm telling you right now, though, real quick, this is going to become my blooper reel. You know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yes.
cut pieces and make it a funny.
Okay. I'll see you
Love
soon
you
then on
guys.
Bill's call.
Love
Bye for now.
you.
Bye.